They say marriage is about compromise, but nobody mentioned that sometimes you're the only one doing the compromising. I'm Nick Foster, 39 years old, project manager at a mid tier tech company, and I've been married to Tara for 8 years. 8 years of watching her Instagram followers grow while our bank account shrinks. 8 years of hearing about her personal brand while I fix the leaky faucet she broke taking selfies in the bathroom. Nick, I need you to cancel whatever pathetic plans you had for this weekend, Tara announced, not looking up from her phone as she applied some ridiculously expensive face mask that promised to make her look 10 years younger. She already looked great, but apparently great wasn't good enough for her 50,000 followers. I'd been planning this weekend for 3 weeks. Dinner reservations at that little Italian place where we had our first date. Tickets to the art museum she used to love before she discovered that museums don't have good lighting for selfies. Maybe even a walk on the beach, just the two of us. No phones, no distractions. What's going on? I asked, though I already knew I wouldn't like the answer. Emma's throwing this amazing beach house party. All the girls will be there, and Brad's coming too. She said Brad's name the way other people say chocolate or vacation. Brad Whitaker, real estate developer, drives a Porsche, has abs that look like they were carved by Michelangelo himself. Brad, who also happens to be married, though Tara seems to forget that detail whenever his name comes up. Brad? Emma's ex-husband, Brad? God, Nick, don't be so dramatic. He's just a friend. Besides, Emma needs our support right now. The divorce was really hard on her. Emma is Tara's younger sister, and she's nothing like Tara. Where Tara is all Instagram filters and designer clothes, Emma works double shifts at the hospital, saves money instead of spending it on whatever influencer's hawking this week, and actually remembers people's birthdays without Facebook reminding her. I thought you said Emma was doing better. Last week you said she was being too independent. Tara finally looked up from her phone, and I could see the irritation in her eyes. Look, I don't have time to explain every little detail to you. I'm going to the beach house, I'm taking the car, and I'll be back Sunday night. Try not to burn the house down while I'm gone. What about our dinner reservations? Cancel them, or go by yourself. I'm sure they have a nice table for one available. She laughed at her own joke, but it wasn't a kind laugh. It was the laugh she used when her followers made comments she thought were stupid. I watched her pack her weekend bag, which looked more like she was preparing for a month-long vacation. 3 different bikinis, 4 sundresses, enough makeup to stock a small pharmacy, and her professional camera equipment because the lighting at the beach house is absolutely perfect for content. You know what's funny, I said, leaning against the doorframe of our bedroom. I used to think you married me because you loved me. Now I'm starting to think you married me because I had a steady job and good credit. She stopped packing and turned to face me. For just a moment, I thought I saw something in her expression. Maybe regret, maybe guilt. But then her phone buzzed with a notification and whatever I'd seen disappeared. Don't be ridiculous, Nick. You're being way too sensitive. It's just a weekend with my sister and some friends. Why are you making such a big deal about this? Because it wasn't just a weekend, it was another weekend where I came second to her social media presence. Another weekend where she chose everyone else over me. Another weekend where I felt like a roommate who happened to share her last name. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I watched her finish packing, watched her check her appearance in the mirror one last time, watched her grab the car keys without asking if I needed the car for anything. I'll see you Sunday night, she said, giving me a quick kiss on the cheek that felt more like an obligation than affection. Try to do something productive while I'm gone. Maybe clean out the garage or something. And then she was gone, leaving me standing in our bedroom that suddenly felt way too big and way too quiet. I walked to the kitchen and opened a beer, even though it was only 3 in the afternoon. Through the window, I could see our neighbor Connor working on his truck in his driveway. Connor's been my best friend since we moved to this neighborhood 5 years ago. He's a mechanic, divorced, and the kind of guy who tells you the truth even when you don't want to hear it. My phone buzzed. A text message from Emma. Hey, Nick, are you busy tonight? I need to talk to someone, and I think you need to hear what I have to say. I stared at the message for a long time. Emma never texted me directly. Usually, any communication between us went through Tara. This felt different. This felt important. I texted back, "Sure, what time?" "How about 7? I'll bring dinner. We have a lot to talk about." Something in those words made my stomach twist. Emma was a straight shooter, never one for drama or games. If she said we needed to talk, it meant something was seriously wrong. I spent the rest of the afternoon trying to distract myself, but my mind kept wandering back to Tara's behavior over the past few months. The way she'd started working out more, buying new clothes, staying late at work events that never seemed to involve her actual coworkers. The way she'd become protective of her phone, taking it with her even when she went to the bathroom. At 7 o'clock sharp, Emma knocked on my front door. She looked tired, like she'd been working a double shift, but she managed to smile when I opened the door. "I brought Chinese food and some bad news," she said. "Which do you want first?" "Let's start with the Chinese food. I have a feeling I'm going to need my strength for whatever you're about to tell me." We sat at my kitchen table, and for a few minutes, we just ate in comfortable silence. Emma had always been easy to be around. She didn't need constant entertainment or validation. She was just real. "Nick," she said finally, setting down her chopsticks, "there's no beach house party this weekend." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "What do you mean?" "I mean, Tara lied to you. She's not with me, and she's not with a group of girlfriends. She's at Brad's house. Just her and Brad." The words hit me like a physical blow. I'd suspected something was going on, but hearing it confirmed was different. It made it real. "How do you know?" Emma pulled out her phone and showed me a screenshot. It was from Tara's Instagram story posted just an hour ago. The photo showed a glass of wine on what was clearly a man's coffee table. In the background, partially visible, was a framed photo of Brad in his real estate agent headshot. "She's not very good at hiding it," Emma said softly. "I'm sorry, Nick. I've known for about a month, but I wasn't sure how to tell you." I stared at the photo, feeling something inside me break. Not just my heart, though that was definitely broken. Something deeper. My trust, my faith in the life we'd built together, my belief that I mattered to someone. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I hoped I was wrong. Because I hoped she'd come to her senses. And because—" She paused, looking uncomfortable. "Because I was afraid you'd blame me for being the messenger." I reached across the table and took her hand. "Emma, you're the only honest person in this whole mess. Thank you for telling me." We talked until almost midnight. Emma told me about the signs she'd noticed, the lies Tara had asked her to cover for, the way Brad had been showing up at family events where he had no business being. She told me about Tara's friends, Miranda and Chloe, who thought the whole affair was exciting and romantic instead of what it actually was, a betrayal of everything we'd promised each other. When Emma finally left, I sat alone in my kitchen, staring at my phone. I could call Tara, confront her, demand the truth. But what was the point? I already knew the truth. The question now was what I was going to do about it. I opened my laptop and started doing research. Divorce laws, property division, evidence requirements. If Tara thought she could just walk away from our marriage without consequences, she was about to learn how wrong she was. I didn't sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that photo Emma had shown me. Tara's wine glass on Brad's coffee table, like she belonged there, like she'd been there many times before. By 6 a.m., I was in the kitchen making coffee and planning my next move. The first thing I did was check our shared location app on my phone. Tara and I had started sharing locations a few years ago, back when we actually cared about each other's safety and whereabouts. She'd probably forgotten we were still connected. Sure enough, her little dot on the map wasn't at any beach house. She was at 1247 Ocean View Drive, which a quick Google search confirmed was Brad's address. She'd been there since yesterday afternoon. My phone rang. Connor's name on the screen. "You're up early for a Saturday," he said when I answered. "Couldn't sleep. Want to come over for coffee? I need to talk to someone." "Be there in 10 minutes." Connor showed up in his work clothes, covered in grease stains and smelling like motor oil. He took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. What happened? I told him everything. The fake beach house party, Emma's revelation, the location app showing Tara at Brad's house. Connor listened without interrupting, his expression getting darker with each detail. That's messed up, man. What are you going to do? I'm going to make sure she can't screw me over in the divorce. Connor raised an eyebrow. You're going straight to divorce? No confrontation, no couples therapy, no dramatic showdown. What's the point? She made her choice. Now I'm making mine. We spent the morning documenting everything. Screenshots of her location, copies of text messages, photos of our joint bank accounts, and credit card statements. I was surprised to discover how much money she'd been spending lately. Expensive dinners, hotel rooms, shopping trips that I definitely hadn't been invited to. Look at this, Connor said, pointing at a credit card statement. She spent $300 at Victoria's Secret last month. When's the last time you saw any new lingerie? Never. The answer was never. Whatever she'd bought wasn't for me. Around noon, my phone buzzed with a text from Tara. Having such an amazing time. The beach house is perfect. Wish you were here. Along with the text was a photo that was clearly meant to look like she was at a beach house with girlfriends. But I could see the reflection in her sunglasses, and it wasn't a beach. It was a swimming pool, and there was definitely a man in the reflection. I showed Connor the photo. She's not even trying to be convincing. She thinks you're stupid, Connor said. She thinks you'll just believe whatever she tells you because you always have before. He wasn't wrong. For 8 years, I'd given Tara the benefit of the doubt. When she said she was working late, I believed her. When she said she needed girls' nights to decompress, I supported her. When she said she needed space to focus on her personal brand, I gave her space. But I wasn't that guy anymore. That guy was gone, replaced by someone who was tired of being taken for granted. I need to get into her email, I said. That's probably illegal. We share a computer. She never logs out of anything. It's not hacking if she left it open. Tara's email was a goldmine of evidence. Months of flirty messages with Brad, planning secret meetups, complaining about me to her friends. One email to Miranda particularly stood out. Nick is getting so clingy lately. He keeps trying to plan these romantic evenings, and it's honestly pathetic. Brad says I should just tell him I want a separation, but I'm not ready to give up the financial security yet. Besides, Nick does all the boring stuff like paying bills and fixing things around the house. Why would I want to deal with that myself? I read that email 3 times, feeling angrier with each reading. Financial security. That's what I was to her. A paycheck and a handyman. You need to see this, Connor said. He was looking at another email thread, this one between Tara and a divorce attorney. She'd been getting legal advice for 2 months, asking about alimony, property division, and how to maximize her settlement. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was planning to divorce me and take me for everything she could get. The consultation is scheduled for Monday, Connor read. She's going to file first and try to catch you off guard. Not anymore, she wasn't. I called a divorce attorney that afternoon. Jennifer Walsh had great reviews and a reputation for being thorough and aggressive when needed. She agreed to see me on Monday morning, 2 hours before Tara's consultation. Bring all the evidence you have, she said. Bank statements, credit card records, proof of the affair, anything that shows she was planning to leave. In a case like this, whoever files first and comes prepared usually has the advantage. Sunday dragged by slowly. Tara sent a few more fake updates from her imaginary beach house party. Photos of food that I could tell weren't taken at the beach, selfies with backgrounds that didn't match her supposed location, messages about how much fun she was having with the girls. Each lie made me angrier and more determined. Emma texted me Sunday evening. How are you holding up? Better than expected. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. Good for you. You deserve so much better than this. Emma, can I ask you something? Why didn't Tara's friends ever like me? There was a long pause before she responded. Because you're genuine and they're not. You made them look bad just by being a decent person. Tara used to brag about you, you know? About how loyal you were, how hard you worked, how you'd do anything for her. But somewhere along the way, she started seeing those things as weaknesses instead of strengths. When did she change? I think she was always like this, Nick. You just brought out the best in her for a while. But people don't really change. They just get comfortable enough to show you who they really are. At 10 p.m., I got a text from Tara. Heading home now. Don't wait up. I'll be really late. I checked the location app. She was still at Brad's house. At 11:30, another text. Car trouble. going to stay one more night and deal with it in the morning. The location app still showed her at Brad's house. Our car was fine. I could see it in his driveway via Google Street View. I went to bed that night feeling something I hadn't felt in months: control. For the first time in our marriage, I knew something she didn't know I knew. For the first time, I was one step ahead instead of two steps behind. Tomorrow, everything would change. Monday morning, I was in Jennifer Walsh's office at 8 a.m. sharp. She was exactly what I'd hoped for: professional, direct, and clearly someone who'd seen this kind of situation before. "This is a very strong case," she said after reviewing all my evidence. The affair, the financial deception, the fact that she was planning to blindside you with divorce papers. "We can definitely work with this. What happens next?" "We file first. Today, we ask for temporary spousal support for you, since she's been using marital assets to fund her affair. We freeze the joint accounts so she can't drain them, and we make sure she knows that you're not the pushover she thinks you are." I signed the papers at 9:30. By 10 a.m., they were filed with the court. Tara's consultation with her attorney was at 11, but it was too late. I'd beaten her to the punch. "She'll be served with papers this afternoon," Jennifer explained. "Usually we'd have them served at home or work, but since you know where she actually is—" "Serve them at Brad's house," I said. "Let him see exactly what kind of situation he's gotten himself into." I drove to work feeling lighter than I had in months. My coworkers probably thought I was having some kind of breakdown because I couldn't stop smiling. But for the first time in years, I felt like I was in control of my own life. My phone started buzzing around 2 p.m. First, a call from Tara, which I didn't answer. Then a text, "Call me right now." Then another call, another ignored text, and another call. Finally, she texted, "I know what you did. We need to talk." I texted back, "Talk to my lawyer. Her number's on the papers." My phone rang immediately. This time, I answered. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Tara's voice was shaking with rage. "You had me served at Brad's house. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was?" "About as humiliating as finding out your wife has been cheating on you for months while pretending to be at beach house parties that don't exist." Silence. Then, "How did you—" "Emma told me. You know, your sister? The one who's been covering for your lies? She got tired of watching you destroy our marriage. Emma had no right to interfere in our relationship." "Our relationship? Tara, you've been planning to divorce me for 2 months while sleeping with another man. What relationship?" I could hear her crying, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of frustration and anger at being caught. "Nick, please, we can work this out. It was just a stupid mistake. Brad doesn't mean anything to me." "Then why are you still at his house?" Another long silence. "I'm coming home. We need to talk about this face to face. The locks have been changed. Your stuff is packed and ready for pickup. You can collect it anytime, but call first." "You can't lock me out of my own house." "Actually, I can. It's my house. The deed is in my name only, remember? You insisted on that when we bought it because you didn't want the mortgage to affect your credit score." That had been another one of her brilliant financial decisions. She'd wanted to keep her credit pristine for her business ventures. That never quite materialized, so I'd bought the house solo. At the time, I thought it was romantic, showing her that I trusted our marriage completely. Now I realized it was the smartest thing I'd ever done, even if it was an accident. "This is insane, Nick. You're destroying our marriage over nothing." "I'm not destroying anything, Tara. You already did that. I'm just making it official." She hung up on me. An hour later, Connor called. "Dude, you need to get home. Tara's here with some guy and they're trying to get into your house." I left work immediately and drove home to find Tara's car in my driveway along with Brad's Porsche. They were both standing on my front porch, and Tara was yelling at the door like it might open if she got loud enough. I parked on the street and walked up to them. Brad was exactly what I'd expected. Tall, tan, perfectly styled hair, wearing clothes that probably cost more than I made in a week. He looked like every real estate agent's headshot come to life. "Nick!" Tara rushed toward me, tears streaming down her face. "Thank God you're here. We need to talk about this rationally." "There's nothing to talk about. Your stuff is packed. You can take it and go." Brad stepped forward, and I could tell he was trying to look intimidating. Look, man, I think you're overreacting here. Tara made a mistake, but that doesn't mean you have to blow up your whole marriage. I looked at him for a long moment. I'm sorry, who are you exactly? I'm Brad Whitaker. He said it like his name should mean something to me. Right, Brad. The guy who's been sleeping with my wife. I have to ask, does your wife know where you are right now? His confident expression faltered slightly. That's complicated. I bet it is. Here's what's not complicated. You're trespassing on my property. Both of you. Tara, your stuff is in the garage. Take it and leave. Nick, please. Tara was full on sobbing now. I love you. This whole thing with Brad was just... I was confused. I felt like we were growing apart, and I made a terrible mistake. But we can fix this. You felt like we were growing apart? Tara, I tried to plan a romantic weekend with you 3 days ago, and you told me to cancel it so you could go cheat on me. That's not growing apart. That's you choosing someone else. Several of our neighbors had come out to watch the drama unfold. Mrs. Peterson from next door was pretending to water her plants while obviously eavesdropping. The couple across the street were standing in their yard with their arms crossed, watching like it was a movie. You're making a scene, Brad said. Can't we discuss this inside like adults? We're not discussing anything. You're leaving now. Or what? Brad stepped closer to me, trying to use his height advantage to intimidate me. I pulled out my phone and started dialing. Or I call the police and have you both arrested for trespassing. You wouldn't. Try me. Tara grabbed Brad's arm. Let's just go. He's being completely unreasonable. But Brad wasn't done. You know what your problem is, Nick. You never appreciated what you had. Tara's an amazing woman. And you treated her like a roommate. She needed someone who could see how special she is. Special enough to cheat on her husband, but not special enough to leave your wife for? That hit home. Brad's face flushed red, and I could see Tara looking at him with sudden uncertainty. That's different, Brad said. And how? My situation is complicated. My wife and I have been having problems for years. But you're still married. For now. I looked at Tara. Did you know that? Did you know you're just his side piece while he figures out his complicated situation with his wife? Tara looked between Brad and me, and I could see the realization dawning on her face. She'd thought she was special, thought she was worth leaving a marriage for. But Brad had never promised her that, had he? Brad, she said quietly. What does he mean? Tara, we've talked about this. These things take time. There are financial considerations, custody issues. So you're not leaving your wife? Not right now, no. The look on Tara's face was almost worth everything she'd put me through. Almost. Get off my property, I said. Both of you. Don't come back. I walked to my front door, unlocked it, and went inside, leaving them standing in my driveway. Through the window, I watched them have what appeared to be a very heated conversation next to Brad's Porsche. After about 10 minutes, Brad got in his car and drove away, leaving Tara standing alone in my driveway. She knocked on the door. Nick, please, let me explain. I didn't answer. She knocked again. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll do whatever it takes. Still no answer. Finally, she yelled through the door. Fine, be that way, but you're making the biggest mistake of your life. I watched through the window as she loaded her boxes into her car. It took 3 trips, and she was crying the entire time. Part of me felt bad for her, but a bigger part of me felt relieved. For the first time in months, I was alone in my own house without having to worry about what mood she was in or what drama was going to unfold next. My phone buzzed, a text from Emma. I heard what happened. Are you okay? I texted back, better than okay. I'm free. The next few weeks were a blur of legal meetings, paperwork, and awkward encounters with mutual friends who felt the need to pick sides. It was interesting to see who really knew us as a couple and who had just been tolerating me because I came with Tara. Miranda and Chloe, Tara's best friends, made their position clear immediately. I ran into them at the grocery store the Saturday after the confrontation, and they made sure I knew exactly what they thought of me. You're such a bastard, Nick, Miranda said, blocking my path to the checkout line. Tara's devastated. She made one little mistake, and you're destroying her entire life over it. One little mistake? I couldn't help but laugh. She was planning to divorce me while having an affair. That's not a mistake. That's a strategy. She loves you, Chloe chimed in. She told us how sorry she is, how much she regrets everything. But you won't even talk to her. Did she also tell you that she's been calling me a pathetic, clingy husband to anyone who will listen? Or that she was only staying married to me for financial security? They exchanged glances, and I could tell that, yes, she probably had told them those things. Relationships are complicated, Miranda said. You don't just give up on 8 years of marriage because of a few problems. You're right, I said. I didn't give up because of a few problems. I gave up because my wife decided she'd rather be with someone else and lied to me about it for months. There's a difference. I pushed past them and finished my shopping, but I could feel them watching me the entire time. As I was loading groceries into my car, Chloe approached me alone. Look, Nick, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but Tara's really struggling. She's staying with Miranda right now, and she's barely eating. She keeps saying she just wants to come home. She should have thought about that before she decided to have an affair. It wasn't supposed to be serious. Brad told her it was just for fun, that it didn't mean anything. And that makes it better how? Chloe looked uncomfortable. I'm just saying, maybe you could talk to her. Give her a chance to explain. Explain what? How she accidentally ended up in bed with another man? How she accidentally lied to me about where she was going? How she accidentally consulted with a divorce attorney behind my back? You know about the attorney? I know about everything, Chloe. The emails, the secret meetings, the credit card statements, showing hotel rooms and expensive dinners. I know she was planning to blindside me with divorce papers and try to take me for everything she could get. So, no, I don't think we need to have a conversation about it. Chloe walked away without another word. That evening, Emma came over with pizza and beer. It had become our routine over the past couple of weeks. She'd work her shift at the hospital, then come over to check on me and fill me in on whatever family drama was unfolding. Mom called Tara today, Emma said, settling onto my couch with a slice of pizza. Tara was hoping for sympathy, but it didn't go the way she expected. What happened? Mom told her she was disappointed, but not surprised. Apparently, she and Dad saw this coming years ago. Really? They never liked how Tara treated you. Mom said she used to cringe when Tara would make those little comments about you in front of everyone. You know, the ones that were supposed to be funny, but were actually just mean. I knew exactly what she meant. Tara had a way of making jokes at my expense that always left me feeling small and stupid. Comments about my job not being as important as her brand building, jokes about my clothes or my hobbies, little digs about how I wasn't as social or outgoing as her friends' husbands. I always thought that was just her sense of humor. It wasn't humor, Nick. It was cruelty disguised as humor. There's a difference. We ate in comfortable silence for a while, watching some mindless TV show. Having Emma around had been one of the few bright spots in this whole mess. She was easy to talk to, didn't judge me for being angry, and actually seemed to enjoy my company. Can I ask you something? Emma said during a commercial break. Sure. Are you doing okay? Really okay, I mean. Not just putting on a brave face. I thought about it for a moment. You know what's weird? I thought I'd be more devastated. I thought discovering your wife is cheating on you would be the worst thing that could happen to someone. But honestly, I feel relieved. Relieved? For months, I felt like I was going crazy. Tara was distant and critical and just mean. But whenever I tried to talk to her about it, she'd tell me I was being oversensitive or paranoid. She made me feel like I was the problem, like I was imagining things. Emma nodded. Gaslighting? Exactly. So when I found out about the affair, it was almost like validation, I guess. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't imagining things. She really was treating me badly, and now I knew why. Have you heard from Brad at all? Not directly, but Connor saw him at the gym last week. Apparently, Brad's been telling people that I'm some kind of psycho who can't handle his wife having male friends. Emma snorted. Male friends don't usually require hotel rooms? That's what Connor told him. Brad didn't have much to say after that. My phone buzzed with a text message. Tara's name on the screen. She's been texting me every day, I told Emma. Usually late at night, usually some variation of, we need to talk, or I miss you, or this is all a big misunderstanding. Are you going to respond? I deleted the message without reading it. There's nothing to say. My lawyer handles all communication now. Good. She had her chance to talk. She chose to lie instead. Around 10 p.m., Emma started gathering her things to leave. As she was putting on her jacket, she paused at the door. Nick, I need to tell you something, and I hope it doesn't make things weird between us. What is it? I've always thought you deserved better than Tara. Even before the affair, even when things seemed good between you two. You're kind and funny and loyal, and she never appreciated those things about you. I used to watch you two together and think about how lucky she was, and how she didn't even realize it. There was something in her voice, something that made me look at her more carefully. Emma was pretty in a completely different way than Tara. Where Tara was all Instagram glamour and carefully applied makeup, Emma was natural and genuine. She had kind eyes and a smile that actually reached those eyes. Emma, I'm not trying to complicate things, she said quickly. I just wanted you to know that someone in this family thinks you're pretty great. She gave me a quick hug and left, but I stood in the doorway for a long time after her car disappeared down the street. For the first time since this whole mess started, I found myself thinking about the future instead of just getting through each day. And for the first time in years, that future looked like it might actually be pretty good. 3 months later, the divorce was final. Tara had tried everything to drag out the process, hoping I'd change my mind or that she could negotiate a better settlement. But Jennifer had been thorough, and the evidence of Tara's affair and financial deception was overwhelming. In